Moving the connectors to the rear of the motherboard is one of those ideas that's so in your face, so simple, so obvious. You wonder why no one's ever thought of it before, and surely this is going to revolutionize the industry and change the way that we build PCs forever. Except it hasn't. Don't get me wrong, that's not to say it isn't a brilliant idea. I mean, I am all about clean aesthetics, which is why I was stoked when ASUS reached out to me and asked if I wanted to take a look at their GT302 case. I could not wait to get my hands on it, deep dive, and do a build. And then I ran into problems. You see, there just aren't any AMD motherboards yet. And while I do my best to stay brand agnostic, recently I've been really trending away from Intel and towards AMD for obvious reasons. I mean, they have basically been a dumpster fire the last 18 months. Hey guys, FutureBird here to share with you some exciting news. In the days since we originally shot this video, ASUS has now come out and officially confirmed that there will be X870 BTF compatible motherboards, and I am stoked. So I just wanted to set the record straight, because in a few minutes, past me is gonna tell you that I'll be taking my daily driver rig and just moving everything into this in its standard configuration. No, no, no! Well, that guy is a liar. Maybe not a liar, uninformed. That guy is uninformed. What I will be doing is everything I can to get my hands on one of these BTF motherboards and completely redoing my rig. I was so excited to share the news with you guys that I figured I would go ahead and interrupt the video and let you know. Now back to past, who even knows if they're gonna be here in another 18 months? So that got me thinking, maybe there's a lot of you out there that are just like me. You're curious about rear connector builds. You are interested in it. You're cable curious, as it were. You're not sure if you like your connector in the front or you like using the connector in the rear. Look, I get it. You're young, it's college. You wanna experiment with the cables, and you need a case that meets your needs. You need a case that can go both ways. A case that gives you options based on your mood. And that got me thinking again, maybe this isn't a good BTF case. Maybe it's just good overall. And if it's good in any build, does that make it good in every build? Let's talk about that. So let's take a look at some of the numbers on this thing. While it's technically a mid-tower, he's a chunky boy, clocking in at 235 by 520 by 485 mils. And don't worry if you measure in freedoms, I'll throw that up on the screen too. It's about, I don't know, one bald eagle by about 3/4 of a bald eagle. It comes preloaded with 440 millimeter fans. That's right, you heard me correct. It's 140 millimeter fans, not 120 millimeter fans, pushing 115 CFM. That's right. When everything is wide open, homie is moving some air. Let's hang on airflow for a minute, because I think there's a lot to talk about in that department for this case. Pretty much every square inch of this case, except for what is tempered glass, is mesh, meaning there should be no issues with ventilation. In fact, the side panels are interchangeable, so if you wanted to make this side mesh as well, you can go ahead and do that. If you wanted to throw your tempered glass over here and show off your beautiful cable management, you can do that as well. I'm not sure why you would, but maybe you're very anal about it and you're very proud of it. And hey, again, that's fine. You do you. This is your computer, not mine. While we're on the topic of coolers, we have clearance for up to a 165 millimeter tower cooler, as well as up to a 280 in the front and a 360 across the top. I will probably be rolling with a 360 set across the top, which brings me to one of my favorite features of this case. We pop the panels off. By the way, the assembly and disassembly of this case is almost 100% toolless. There's a couple of screws right here that we're gonna remove for a very specific reason. This top fan and radiator bracket, completely removable. I mean, there's so many benefits to this. Like, obviously, it makes installing your AIO so much easier. But even before it's installed, it makes getting to this area inside your case, screwing in your motherboard, fastening connectors if they're not in the rear, assembling things. It just overall makes the building experience slightly easier. And look, in my opinion, a case has two main jobs. One is to look good, the other is to make building your PC just a little bit easier. And being able to remove that top bracket absolutely makes it just a little bit easier. And it's one of those simple, nice touches that you really like seeing. I don't know about you guys, but my life is pretty crazy. I stay busy around the clock, and 5 minutes less building is 5 more minutes gaming. One of the things I don't love, and it's not a deal breaker, but if you have pets like me, is this mesh dust filter up front. Unless you have one of those ugly ass hairless cat chupacabra looking things, you know pet hair is a pain. But also, you probably understand that pet hair is gonna be a pain no matter what you get. If you're making your buying decisions based off of what's the easiest thing to get your cat hair out of, you're probably making a lot of compromises anyway. Now onto my favorite, absolutely non-scientific build quality test, the shake. Let me even give it a little turn. Look, the case is hefty, it's well built, it's solid. There's nothing rattling. Even without the top bracket, it's still incredibly structurally rigid. The build quality's there. The build quality better be there because of the price, but it is there. I don't see any sharp edges. All the corners are curled in, rounded, nothing to hang a wire on, nothing to snag your hand on. I mean, in my opinion, the build quality is just not something you should be concerned with. This case is incredibly well made, incredibly structurally sound, solid, and while not the cheapest, I definitely feel like you are getting what you pay for. Now let's spin it around and take a look at cable management in the back. This is simultaneously my favorite part of this case and also my least favorite for a few reasons we'll discuss. If you're used to working in a dual chamber case, you're gonna be a little let down by the amount of room back here. But I do feel like compared to a lot of this case's direct competitors like the 4000D from Corsair, that there is plenty enough room to get back here, get everything tucked away, and manage just how you like it. One note, if you're a cable shover and not a cable manager, because this is a BTF case, there is a lot of places for cables to poke through. The other negative in cable management, and something that I really don't like, this mess. Look, we have the technology. We can do better. We don't need 4 fans daisy chained together with all these wires bunched up and routed through the back. Can you manage it and make it look pretty? Absolutely. Is it a minor complaint? Probably. But at the price point, when you're comparing this to other manufacturers that come with pre-installed hub systems or the click-together fans that significantly reduce the amount of wires, it feels like a bit of an oversight, or maybe a bit of a, I don't want to say cheaping out, because these are really, really good high quality fans pushing a lot of air. They're not cheap fans. It just feels like something I would have seen in 2020, not 2024.
A wizard is never late.
And like I said, credit where credit's due, ASUS did a really good job cable managing all this stuff out of the box. So if you don't intend to make any changes to how it's wired and laid out of the box, you're probably gonna be fine. Or if you're like me and you're gonna change out the fans anyway, it's a non-issue. But the problem comes in is down the road if you wanna reconfigure this build, maybe keep some fans but not keep the rest, remove the rear, whatever. Once you undo this rat's nest, getting it all back together and cable managed properly, gonna be a pain in the ass. Overall, really solid entry from ASUS, and I'm excited to use it because I don't feel like you can truly get a feel for how good a case is until you build in it and then daily drive it for a while. So I'll be switching out my main editing rig from an NZXT H6 Flow into this and test it out for a few months. And I'll report back to you guys and let you know just exactly what my experience was. I'm sure I'll do a video of us switching all the components out and moving everything into this case. Today I just wanted to give a really brief overview. And if you want to take a look at the last overview we did, it's an NZXT case, so you may not want to click the link, but hey, if you do, it's right here, and subscribe and whatnot.